This will send out the order to Easley AI to generate this workflow. And in a matter of seconds, we have our workflow generated with those exact instructions.
Everyone, you are at the right place. My name is Kendall Matthews, head of ElectroNeek marketing. I want to thank everyone for coming into our Winter 24 platform release 10.0. This is our largest release that we've ever had, and you're going to be so excited about what we are going to offer you and everyone else in the world. And we're going to show this next slide because we have some great speakers today. So Dmitry Karbov and Ivan Ramos. Dmitry is our co-founder and chief product officer, and he's going to talk a little bit about himself and his background and experience. And Ivan Ramos is our sales engineer, and he's going to be showing you the live demo that we promised today. So before we get started, Dmitry, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, Kendall, for the introduction. My name is Dmitry. I'm chief product officer. Building the things that you're going to see today. I'm a physicist by my background. I was doing PhD in laser electronics before I did my first steps in software. Since that, done career in tech, including being one of the innovation and automation leaders in a big four company. So bringing a lot of experiences to the table. But it was legit to say 4 years ago when we started. Today it's a teamwork, and because of our colleagues in R&D, in product, in engineering, like Ivan, you, Kendall, you in marketing, we have this opportunity to stay in touch with our customers and learn from them, and then ship features that they want. And today, hopefully, it's our biggest release of the year. I hope to solve specific pain points that many, actually, I see some familiar names in the chat, brought to the table. And thanks everyone who contributed their ideas for the release to happen internally among our users. And those, by the way, who shared them on ideas, electroneek.com. It was a big source of inspiration for this release as well.
Thank you. And Ivan, what about yourself?
Thanks, Kendall. Yeah, my name is Ivan Ramos, sales engineer here with the team. Ivan and Ivan both are great. No problem there. And yeah, I spent the last 7 years working in automation and, of course, RBA, AI, and everything involved. And really, really excited to show these features that we're going to be showcasing today, related to AI and related to many other exciting new things that we haven't done before. So yeah, mostly just looking forward to showing that in a moment.
Fantastic. Well, Dmitry, go ahead and take us through this journey.
Okay, let's get started. So today we go not only to talk, we're going to show you, and that's our event is supercharged with demos. It will take more time than me speaking, I promise. But we still want to unpack first why we built something, what and how it works, and then to show you that in action. So we go into a couple of major features, going to talk through some of their features that unlock different business opportunities with us, that will cover online plans, that will cover how we enable partners, that will cover what we do for enterprises, and that will also cover what we do for everyone in terms of our freemium community version. It's a free edition of the platform. So we go into give you access to this newly revamped community version, so you can get started completely for free, even today. And I'm going, of course, to address your questions. So feel free to use Q&A section or chat, or just wait till the end. Let's get started. So the first feature that we're going to talk today is related to AI. And you may notice, for some of you who track us for a while, that we drop an RP word from the platform itself. It became much bigger than RP, and today is a landmark of a certain degree when we completely extend automation to all types of environments. So we call ourselves automation platform, and there's so much AI in what you will be doing as a user there, and in what we do. That we're going to focus on today, that we add AI-powered automation platform. But this is all not about us. This is about you. It's about your business processes and business processes of your clients. That is our major kind of roadmap focus now, to enable building processes and managing these processes easier. We think that on automation side, quite frankly, that's all done. Maybe it's a big statement. You will see it today. Of course, products will continue to improve, but in terms of what you're capable to automate and how quickly you can do it, it was a long road, but here we are today in November 23. So let's move on. So we united all our AI features under one feature called Easley AI. We named it after a very inspiring woman in tech, and I'd like to encourage you to all learn more about her contribution and in our everyday life so far. It's a very fascinating story. And Easley AI is what you've seen, maybe if you attended our events over last year, as features that were popping up here and there in the product to make automation faster, to make your interaction with knowledge base, like within Live Agent, and also to make the bot smarter so you can automate 10x more cases than before. So that's Easley AI. That's fully AI-powered canvas where you can create continuations of any workflows or brand new workflows from scratch by just feeding the instructions of the process or basic description or unstructured process. But of course, the description of process should involve some kind of actions. As a result, you would not have a small automation like 3 connectors together done. You will have fully functional desktop or browser workflow that will allow you to adjust it if needed, maybe to show path to file, maybe to specify some website, but then it can be run out of the box. And we pretty much now brought all no-code activities available on Canvas to the model. So build whatever you want, build with text, with instructions. Of course, the RP developer profession is here because you still need to understand the business process. You still need to understand some nuances of, for instance, desktop automation. But here we are, process of any complexity, it supports complex logic. Process in any language, it supports 80 languages or so, can be built there. That's the canvas for you. We're going to extend it to some of our other products in terms of ability to produce the automations by feeding that with texts. But that becomes our core RPA. It'd be much faster process. You will see it today. I'm not going to waste your time on pitching how fast is developing automations with AI is. You will see that. And it's much easier to use because for simple processes, even business users can pretty much say what they want. As we go ahead into the demo of this feature, I want to say that I don't see any other future for automation development rather than that. It's very clear, like self-building bots, that's the future. AI agents, now named, but was before called RP bots, became much more smarter. That's why they call AI agents, because now they can tap into knowledge of generative AI, your custom model or LLM on the go, and be very specialized in doing something, whatever you want them to do. At the same time, they have full access to your to the data you want bots to have access, like your desktop applications or your legacy applications or any other things. I remember such projects as were considered like top of the innovation in big enterprises around 5 years ago. Many of them failed. I don't think that the use of AI agents goes beyond specific applications, and that's great. You can build these applications now as workflows for clients and charge them money for. I know there's some IT service providers now. You can build a bot that does IT service help, pretty much talking to customers on their issue. You can do auto remediation, things like that. So that's fully like automated work, and that's the AI agents built with Easley AI. Support services now inside the portal. A bit later in the studio, you'll be able to get online support from Easley AI any time of the day, anytime, any business hours, any zone. Level 1 support will be here to help. So let's stop talking about Easley and let's see how you can transform the work you do today, the business processes you have today, into the future. Ivan, your turn. Thank you.
Thanks, Dimitri, for that great introduction. And yeah, we'll be going into. Sorry, just keep a small slide there. We'll be going to our demo for Easley AI. So first of all, where can we find this within the platform itself? So once you open the account portal, you will start noticing that we have a new module within the platform. So in the account portal itself, you will notice the Easley AI module right there. And this is where you can go in and see your usage, see how many credits you're using, how many you have available. But this is your command center for basically everything related to Easley AI. But then the features themselves, we'll be using them right here in Studio Pro. So now we'll be creating a small use case which will showcase 4 key features of Easley AI, and then we'll actually showcase many more. But this will be the way that we'll show you that how the combination of all of these activities will allow you to speed up development massively. So first of all, the first feature of Easley AI that we will look at is workflow assistance. This feature will allow you to create workflows from scratch by simply instructing the Easley AI with the simple steps that you need to perform. So that's right here in the home screen of the Studio Pro. So if I click Create New with Easley AI, we can see that we have a small window to put our prompt in. So about this prompt. So prompt engineering is really the key to working with Easley AI and instructing AIs to work with you. So let's look at how this prompt will look. So first, we'll start at a very basic level, a natural language description of that process. We'll start at a process that will read the contents of an Excel file in this case, and we'll want to send the data from that Excel file via an email. And then we'll want to log some information from that file into the console. This is simply something that we could do by drag and dropping these activities, but in this case, we'll have Easley AI create that automatically for us. And then we'll, of course, be adding more steps to that. Just to add a note there, the steps that we're going to be adding later, you could also add them into the prompt themselves. But of course, I wouldn't be able to showcase those features as well because Easley AI would just be doing it for me, and I won't be able to do it because it will be too fast. So I'll be adding more steps into that workflow to showcase those other features. This description can definitely include those steps as well. In this case, we'll simply include these first 3 steps, and we'll have a prompt that will include all of those steps, all of those requests in a single instruction. So this will be the starting point for our workflow. We'll go back into Studio Pro and just paste that prompt right here. So we'll simply give Easley AI our description, and then we'll select one of these 2 options. In this case, we'll simply add the workflow to the canvas. And with that, we will click Build Workflow. This will send out the order to Easley AI to generate this workflow. And in a matter of seconds, we have our workflow generated with those exact instructions. Right here in the console, we can see the prompt itself that we used. And of course, in the canvas, we can see those steps. So as we asked, first we're going to be reading an Excel file, saving its contents, and then sending an email. Of course, this send email activity needs us to select which email account we'll be using and customize that. But everything else has already been filled out for us. And then the console activity at the end, which was also part of that instruction. In this case, the file itself that we'll be working with is this one. This is a very quick sample of product sales from previous quarter and the current quarter. These are some products and some units sold in those 2 quarters. So we will want to know the difference between these 2 quarters in terms of units, and also have a quick analysis of the performance of each product based on these 2 quarters. So this will be our raw data for that. First, we'll just customize this activity that Easley created for us to point to that specific path, because of course it just used a placeholder for us, but we'll now point to the correct file. So that's in our desktop. And then we just need to point to the specific sheet, which in our case is called sales. Yeah. So with that, the data will be saved to Excel data. But now we'll showcase a second feature in Easley AI, which will be the code assistance feature, Easley AI code assistance. So let's say that we want this data, but we want to add a new column to it. We want to add a column with that difference. We want to calculate that difference easily. We would normally would need to maybe add some more extra activities, or maybe write some code ourselves to add that and transform that original table with that instruction. In this case, with code assistance, we won't need to do that. We will just need to create the variable itself that will hold that transform table. Let's call this table with diffs, right? Table with differences. And when we click on the calculate a value option right here, we'll see a button below that says Easley AI Code Assistance. And when we click it, this will take us to the Code Assistance window. As you can see here, what we need to tell Easley AI here is what's the inputs that we will be receiving here that we will want to transform. And then just like before, we'll need to specify a prompt. We'll need to specify what do we need to do here? What are the instructions? And if we go back to our slides, we can see how we do that right here as well. So the target variable, that's the one we are creating, the table with differences. The input will, of course, be the Excel data, the one that we read that's raw. We need to describe that input. We need to make sure that the AI knows what we are giving it, so it has the full context of how to perform that transformation. So that's the description of what Excel data is, basically. And then the prompt, that's our instruction about what do you want to perform. And in this case, we wanted to add a new column called difference, which will be the difference between the quarter sales and the previous quarter sales. So it's that simple. That's all we need to do in Code Assistance to make sure that we have that code created for us. So we'll select the target variable, table with diffs. The input variable will be Excel data. The description is the same one that we just saw. Basically, this is just a description explaining what that variable contains. So we save this, and then we just add the prompt right here, the instructions. So if we click send now, we will be getting a suggestion for that code. We can look at this, and if we don't have the skill, we can just test it out. We can very quickly paste this into the bot and test it. But if you have the skills to read it, we can go, oh, yeah, this is good. Or you could just click send again or modify your prompt to generate some new code based on your corrections. So you can have this small conversation with the AI to generate the best code for you. In this case, this looks good. So we can just click that button, have it pasted over to the activity. And with that, we already have the code necessary to transform that original table. So we can even run this so far, so we can see the original table with its transformation. And then we'll actually add some extra steps. But for now, we can run a small test here, and we'll be able to see. Perfect. So we can now see right here in the variables that we have the original table right here with no extra columns. And finally, we have the table with the differences. And here's the new column with the differences. And all of this was done without us needing to review or write any piece of code at all. All of this was done by simply explaining to Easley AI what it is that we want to do. Okay, so now we have the data that we need. It's fully ready to move on with the next steps, which will be to take this raw data and leverage Easley AI to generate an executive summary out of that data. So basically, we want a small financial analysis, a quick, easily readable financial analysis based on that data. We don't just want the raw data. We want something that a human can read and say, oh, I understand what's going on with this data. So for that, we can leverage the Easley AI activities. We'll be going through the two Easley AI activities, which are Ask AI and Edit Text. So first, we'll be using Ask AI. Ask AI is an activity that will let us talk to Easley AI, basically to perform a question or a prompt where we'll give it all the context that we need to give it in order to make a decision or to create something for us, to generate something for us. In this case, we will want it to generate this executive summary. So we go back to our slides. Here is exactly how we will ask that question. How will we define that prompt? As you can see, we have 4 sections of that prompt. We first ask the AI to assume a persona. So in this case, what type of human would be performing this task? A financial analyst. So we want the AI to take on that persona. So that's the first part. Then we describe the task itself. We explain that the AI will receive this data with the information from products sold in the previous quarter and in this one. We will include, of course, the data itself. And then the goal itself will be to, based on that data, produce an executive summary explaining basically which were the best and the worst performing products. And at the end, we can even ask, how do you want to get this data back? We could want it in a more technical format like a CSV, a JSON, or whatever. In this case, we just wanted a single paragraph with the full summary. So we wanted this text. So that will be our prompt. And all we need to do now is just go back to the Ask AI activity. And right here, where we have the question, we will select calculate a value. And this is where we will bring in our prompt. So this is the same one that we saw just now. It has the full text. The only difference is we have a placeholder for the variable, but we will now replace that with the actual name of the variable that contains the data, which we know is a table with divs. And this small part is just there to turn that into text. So when we talk to the AI, we're not sending any data that we want to understand. It's all text. Perfect. So now we want the answer back from this prompt, and we want to save that into a variable that will be called summary. But we'll actually call it summary English, because the next step that we're going to add is we will translate this summary into another language automatically, also by leveraging another Easley AI feature, which is the edit text activity. So the edit text activity works similarly. It also talks to Easley AI, but it's not a free-form prompt or question. This takes an input text, an original text, and then we need to describe a transformation that we want to perform on that text. That could be a summarization, a restatement of that same text, or in this case, a translation. So the input itself will be the text that we want, and the instruction, as we can see right here in this slide as well, will be simply to translate this financial analysis into Spanish. It doesn't need to be too complicated. This is very straight to the point. We'll just explain that that's what we need, and then we'll jump into, we will just get the translated summary at the end of that. So we'll give it the instruction that will be translate this financial analysis into Spanish. And of course, Spanish is just one example here. We can work with any language that is supported by GPT, which is a massive amount of languages, basically any language that you can think of. And we will now grab this result into a variable called summary Spanish. And with that, we will have the final result of our process. Basically, we'll have the analysis performed and the that same analysis translated into Spanish, and we'll want to send that into an email like we originally requested. So we connect that to the send email activity that we already have. We'll set up my email account right here so we can send that email from somewhere. That's already set up as a credential. I will send that to myself so we can see the result at the end. The subject, let's set up data from Excel file. We will give it more context. In this case, we'll call it last quarter sales analysis. And as for the body, we'll actually include the both summaries there. We'll include the English summary first with a small introduction, and then the Spanish summary also with a small introduction, but in Spanish. So we are using those two pieces of text generated by Easley AI. Finally, we will just attach that original file, and that will be all that we need. So with this, we have created a full workflow that leverages two Easley AI activities, but was also created with the help of two other Easley AI tools, the workflow assistants and code assistants. So let's actually run this very quick, and we'll be able to see the result in a moment. So it is now reading the data, talking to Easley AI, and performing both the Ask AI and the edit text activities. And finally, it sends the email, and it is now done. And we can take a look at that email right here. So as we see, we have a small introduction to the analysis, and then the analysis itself, which of course was generated fully by the AI with the insights that we asked for. And then we have the same information in Spanish down here, and the file itself has been attached. It doesn't have the new column because that column was just for us to provide to the AI. We didn't modify the original file. We just added that within our workflow. Perfect. So that is our workflow, a large workflow that, a more complex workflow that uses many different features. And we've created it in only a couple minutes, leveraging these four Easley AI features. But of course, this isn't everything that could be done with Easley AI. If we take a look at our final slide right here, Easley AI workflow assistants can really be used to generate a ton of different types of workflows. We can ask it for many, many other things. What we saw here was just a couple of examples of different features, but we'll take a look at a couple more to showcase other activities that Easley AI knows how to use from the platform and will understand that it needs to use them when you request it. So for example, user input activities. If we simply, let's create a small workflow that asks the user to input a name, an email, and an age. This is a very straightforward request. So we'll create a workflow with that. And very quickly, we'll have our new workflow. So here it is right here. It used the input dialog activities to ask for a name, ask for an email, and ask for age, right? And basically, then it added an email at the end. We didn't request for that, but it can suggest extra steps, or we can specify what the extra step would be after that. Let's actually do another one right here that would also work with user input, but we actually specify what we want to do after that. We want to ask for the name, then show it on screen, and then write it to the console. So we create that very quick. And Easley AI will know to use the input dialog activity to get that value, and then it will show it on screen, and then write it to the console just as we requested. Then we can also leverage the OS automation features, like running commands in the CMD prompt, in the command prompt. So in this case, we're asking to input have the user input a URL, and then we run a ping on that URL. So here the user, in the input dialog, the user would type in the URL, and then a ping command will be run on that same URL. So that's exactly what we described. Email features, those can be leveraged as well by Easley AI, by the workflow assistance feature. So we can ask it to read emails from an inbox with a certain word, for example, in the subject. If we build this, we'll take a look at the read emails activity right here that's generated, and we'll see that in the filter by content section, it's looking for emails with the subject that contains the word invoice. And just as a quick demonstration, all of these prompts could actually also be used in different languages. The same prompt that we just used, which if we go back, we can click this button to get it back if we forgot what we used or we want to iterate on it. We have that. But in this case, let's say you're working in another language and you want to leverage this feature. So you ask the same request that we just did, but in Spanish. Easley AI will understand that and will create our workflow. The only difference will be that this time, of course, the word itself is in Spanish. Instead of invoice, we have factura. But the logic itself is the same. Then, sending emails, of course, that's possible as well. We can grab an invoice file and then send an email with the information from that. So it will understand the activities that it needs to use for that as well, setting the path, and then sending the email as well. You can see that Easley even added some comments to understand what each one of these activities are doing. So it's explaining to us how it created these workflows. Then we can work with Excel files as well, reading them, writing them. So we're just showcasing a couple of these features. And then after these Excel features, so you can read files, and we can read, then save, and then write to other files. Really, these are just quick examples, but all these activities are available for Easley AI to leverage on your requests. And we can even use more advanced features, such as talking to an API. For example, we can connect to the Open Notify API, which is a list of people in space. And we can talk to that API and show the amount of people on space right now via a user notification. Like this has been already set up for us. Then IntelliDocs, our IDP platform, can also be leveraged by Easley AI. So if we specify they want to process a document with IntelliDocs after setting its path, Easley AI will be able to create that for us as well. So mostly, and here we have the result. In some cases, you'll also notice that even exception handling has been automatically added by Easley AI. This is, if you don't specify, it will add it sometimes, or sometimes it won't, depending on your case. But if you specify that you want it, it will be included. So the goal of creating these workflows is just to show that the Easley AI workflow assistance tool will be able to generate a giant array of different types of workflows for you. It will understand the context of what you need to perform, and it will know which activities out of Studio Pro it will need to leverage. Finally, I only have one more thing right here to show, which is the Easley AI documentation helper right here. If you go over to the documentation portal of ElectroNeek, you will notice that we now have a new section called Easley AI. And this is where you can basically talk to the AI and ask it questions that will be answered based on the knowledge on our documentation. So this is a much simpler way of navigating our documentation, or at least a very starting point for the help that you need. So let's say that we want to ask, for example, what are the requirements for a bot runner? So we ask this question, and Easley will not only answer that question for us, it will actually provide the sources for that question, for that answer. So it'll let us know what are the requirements. It will give us some extra information about connecting it to Orchestrator. And then we have the links to the articles in the documentation that back that up. So yeah, these are the new Easley AI features that we are very proud to showcase. Of course, there's massive potential in them. This is just a quick demonstration of them. But you can see they are massively helpful to not only build your workflows faster and to open new windows in what your bots can do, but also, of course, in learning the platform itself. So really, I believe that this is a massive leap in the platform and in automation in general. So I'll give the microphone back to you, Dimitri.
And before we start on Integrabots, that's a very beginning side and topic. I want to say, if you go back to the beginning of Ivan's presentation, you've seen AI credits inside Easley AI page in the portal. What are these credits? We want these features, the AI features, be available to everyone, no matter of what type of relationships you do have. If you're an ElectroNeek user, you will be able to use all these features in your work, even if you're a community user. So we introduced the consumption metric for the use of this feature, and we pretty much give some number of credits to everyone to use. And for those who are going to consume more, we do have this feature available as an add-on, these credits. So let's start exploring the AI world together. And in the end of the day, we're going to give you access to the community version if you stay till the end of the webinar, and you can go and try all the things that you may have a question about today. Okay, so what is Integrabots? That's our integration platform, the last piece of automation puzzle that I was speaking about. So that's the tool inside the portal. You will see it in a minute. You can build workflows. You can run workflows there. You don't need to have a virtual machine. You run it in the cloud. You build it very fast because it's the same drag and drop, but now there is no desktop level complexity, no browser level complexity. It's a workflow in your favorite SaaS apps. Unlike Zapier, another simplest tool, we brought up the complex logic there, so you can build processes of any complexity. And if your automation case exists inside the apps that we are connected, or we're going to grow this number of connectors, of course, a lot, you can just do there. It's not an alternative to Studio. It's a complementary product for the Studio. This feature allows you to connect, authorize this with myriads of your apps, and pull the data in, pull the data out using any kind of logical operations, including communicating with AI. So here it's probably the quickest path to value among all other products we had, because between starting with the tool and having standing automation that delivers real commercial value, you don't need much. Again, this tool is available in Integrabots, so you can give it a try today. And Ivan, now microphone is yours. Let's show that's something that I would say the most exciting for us in 2023, at least as exciting as all AI features.
Yeah, we'll showcase Integrabots now. We'll look at a small demo that will showcase how you can create these integrations very simply with some of the most common apps that you're using, even with complex branching logic and with loops and other advanced features that you can add. So this is another feature that you will notice that we have right here in the portal now. If you look inside the automation hub as well as the Easley AI module, we now have the Integrabots module. So if we open it up, let me quickly refresh my portal, and right here we have our main page for Integrabots. So Integrabots will have these three tabs where we'll be creating our bots, our flows. And then we'll have we have a way to look at the runs of these bots that have been executed in the past, and look at them and see if they were successful or not, and look at them step by step. And then the connections themselves that we perform with the applications that we'll be using, like for example, we'll be using Gmail and Google Sheets and others, those will be hosted right here in the connections tab. And of course, we can set them up directly from the Integrabots, but we can also look at them right there. So let's take a look at a process for notifying about new invoices. So we'll take a look at this small workflow that will combine some of the key features of Integrabots. So here we have the development canvas itself of Integrabots. And the first thing that we set up right here, and you can see that here we have already set it up, is a trigger. So what will make this Integrabot run? In this case, we have used a webhook trigger. This means that the Integrabot will be run when a certain URL is entered into. And you can also feed input data into that URL. But of course, this can be triggered by an incoming email, but an action that happens on any system that is available. So you can very simply go into change trigger right here and see all the available triggers that you have right here, both for apps that are connected to Integrabots, but also for some core ones and agnostic ones like schedules and webhooks like we saw here. So in this case, what we are doing is we're running via that webhook, and that webhook will be connected to this worksheet in Google Sheets. So right here, what we have is a very small, simple table of invoice numbers and invoice totals, and the status column for them is empty. So what we want to do is, in order to notify people about these invoices that have come in, we have a small button that we have set up, which will include a hyperlink to that Integrabot. So the webhook link is there, but we're also feeding this data as well. So the actual data from the row will be sent over to Integrabots, so it knows what we're dealing with. It has the data and it can use it in the further steps. Inside the bot itself, we'll have some branching logic first. We'll want to know if the status is empty or if it's already okay. If it's already okay, we won't do anything else. But if it's not okay, that means it hasn't been notified yet, then we'll perform extra steps. So that branching logic right here is using the data from that webhook. So that's all being connected automatically. And right here, the branch logic, of course, has the yes and the no path. In this case, as I mentioned, the yes path will be empty because we don't want to do anything if the answer to this match is yes, if it's true, if status is already okay. If not, we'll go through the no path. And in the no path, that's where we will update the row. And you can see that we have an action right here that's updating a row in Google Sheets. We selected the spreadsheet itself, the sheet, the row number, and in this case, we'll be updating the status column to say okay. So this column will change like that. And next, we'll send an email. We'll send an email using a previously set up connection with my Gmail account. And I'll send an email to myself called new invoice added, which in the email body, we have set it up right here via HTML. We will include the invoice number and the invoice total from the Google Sheets right there in the email itself. So this is the logic of this particular case. This is already published. So all I need to do now in order to just make this run will be to click on that button. And if we wanted to add more steps, of course, we would be able to do that by clicking any of these plus buttons. And here we have the full list of possible connectors and connections that we have. So we can select one of them. In some cases, like the branch logic that we saw, that will create a different structure like this one. Same thing with loops. If you would like, for example, to add a loop, you can do that as well by selecting this feature, and that will allow you to loop through a list. And of course, if you want to connect to a specific app, you can go through them right here or simply search for them like I do here for Google Sheets. So that would be a very simple way of customizing this. Perfect. So in this case, let's make sure that it's published. And if we now go back to the Integrabots list, we will now make sure that it's published and it's on. That means that it will start receiving requests. And now we'll go back to my spreadsheet and I will now click the notify button for the first row. This will open the webhook, and we'll see that the status has been automatically changed to OK. And then if I check my inbox, we will have this email right here. This email has been also automatically sent by Integrabots via that logic that we added at the end. So we have the invoice number from the line and the invoice total as well. If we now go back to the runs section right here, we will be able to see that a new run has been added. And if we click on it, we can look at all the details about how this executed and the input data and everything that went on during that execution. So we have that ability as well. And then I could just continue clicking on these. Then each one of these will trigger an execution. You can see that the OK status is being added as I click this button. And I'm also getting the emails for each one of these. So, of course, the data is different. In this case, the invoice number and the total is different because the data is being read dynamically by Integrabots in each one of these executions right here. So this has allowed us to set up a very simple way of running a bot. I didn't need to install anything on my machine. I didn't need to set up anything locally. It's all running on automatically right there in Integrabots, and it's all being triggered in the way that we asked for. And then we have, of course, full information about how those runs went by just going to the run stub and just checking how this went. Since we added some logic to not do anything, if the status was already okay, we can try this out. If we just click on the notify again in one that didn't already have the status, we will be able to see that we now have a new run that this time did not go through the next step. So we can see that the steps were just the first one, trigger, and the branch itself. So we didn't go through the other ones because the condition was true. So we have all that information right there available for every single execution. Right. So that's a quick demo of Integrabots. This is just a very quick demonstration of some of the features that you can use. Right here, we looked at Gmail integration, Google Sheets integration, at branching logic, and also the ability to run from a webhook. But as you saw, there's dozens of other connectors and other types of triggers. And it's really a matter of just playing around with them and creating the workflows that you need that connect to your systems.
Thank you, Mal. So today we're going to introduce community that we completely reimagined from what you've seen earlier this year. We got a lot of traction. We have probably bigger number of community users than other users in the platform. Every day, dozens of people register with us. So I'm wondering if any of you already are using community, please share in the chat. But what was community in the past was just studio. It's very interesting limitations. It's what limitation on number of steps you can put on the workflow. And that prevented us from a couple of things, but allowed us to make the platform free to use. As you know, we in the past stayed with commitment to unlimited attended automation as still part of our enterprise roadmap. But we introduced new metric in the platform called workflow runs. If you run a workflow in Studio, that's a workflow run. If you run it in BotRunner, if you scale it through Orchestrator, if it's Integrabot, it's a workflow run. And with the introduction of this metric, we were able to make community having all ElectroNeek products available there. There is a BotRunner, there's Orchestrator, and actually there's IntelliDocs. There were questions about IntelliDocs in the chat. So, Ivan, how about us opening the platform and pretty much what you will see in front of you is the experience of a community user, because all the products are there already. So once you register, you can go there and explore some of the features that are not new with 10.0, but they were not part of the community. And I want to bring your attention to, first of all, if you're a service provider, now there's an orchestrator, and now there's a bot runner. So you can build a full small-scale automation ecosystem as you would do for a client or for small internal process, and do it there. IntelliDocs is available to everyone, and that's our tool to process unstructured data from documents. And let us show how it works. It's a tool that there was a question about that. That's our own tool, part of the platform. where you, with great quality and one single API with automated classification of documents, can extract data from anything. We do have 3,000 models trained already there to work with many languages to extract data from very common documents like invoices and so on, W forms, shipment forms, healthcare forms, a lot of financial documents, a lot of legal documents. And now you can add your own model there. Now, with our help in the future inside the product, we need small sample size of document. AI will do the rest. You will don't need to map the documents again. All the data will be extracted exactly in the way it should be. Well, let's show a small demo of test recognition. Let's pick up a file where in one image we have different document types. There's no other tool in the world can deal with that. So what's that? Driver's license, one page, and invoice, another page. Yeah, let's use that. So imagine you send in this to an API, or your client does when they, submit an application for something, for instance. And what the tool does, it's part of the portal test page. It will understand that these are two files. It will match each of these files to a standard model that best fits this document type. And it will extract all the text, start with your driver's license, all the fields. It knows exactly what is what. It doesn't need to be explained, trained, whatever. It knows exactly what's inside the document, can feed this data anywhere you want. It recognizes faces, signatures. That's the file you've seen. Let's take a look at the invoice. And the 100% means the confidence level. We have good quality image here and still able to run there. So see that maybe for some data, the confidence level can be smaller for specific document, but it works well with mobile scanned images and so on. So now everyone will have balance of pages to test, so you can take any document type you want, even a drawing through there, see how Docs process that. And let's show the bot library. Bot library always was feature of our platform with a lot of IP, on how to build bots. If you go to all bots section there, just quickly to show the breadth of what's available, there are dozens, I think more than 50 bots right now that can be used pretty much out of the box. And they're also a great learning resource on how to build things. If you open any of the bots, you can find there the demo of how it works, step-by-step guide how to build it. You can watch the process of bot being built end to end. You will see that that's fairly short bots, so you can combine them in something bigger and use this as building blocks. So we believe in trying. Automation is always better than hearing about that. So community version, again, in very soon, we're very close to the end. We're going to share the access to code to that. You can go and start using. So there are many questions about data privacy, proprietary data. These are our tools. There's a security page on our website that details like how data is being processed, stored, that varies from part of the platform to part of the platform. Desktop tools sometimes, it's online tools. Sometimes we use third-party models, usually we don't. So that's all there. I wanted to bring attention up to 3 different categories of users with whom historically we haven't worked with and for whom 10.0 release has something very, very great. First of all, we're going to release online plans for small businesses. So if you don't have, automation problem, that pain that can cost you dozens and thousands of dollars, which you will be willing to invest to address and in investing and acquiring capability to automate. But you still benefit from tools like that being applied to smaller problems in your company. If you're maybe sole developer, if you're a small startup, if you are, individual contributor somewhere and you want to apply ElectroNeek on your tasks and community is not enough, there are 3 types of plans: developer, team, and business. They're very different in terms of what's inside, but all the features are there. It just depends on the volume of how many users or how many workflow runs or Easley AI credits you can consume there. Beauty, you don't need to speak to our team. You can go to the website and just buy that plan there and be happy user. So we really never made the tool as accessible economically as we did it right now. So you can be a successful commercial user at the fraction of cost of what it was before to work with ElectroNeek. Then if you're a service provider, we want you to deliver this automation to your clients, be an active reseller. So we revamped part of the platform called Business Hub. You can actually see that in the left top corner, the bottom corner. There are 4 modules there: marketing, sales, and HR, from hiring people who go in to find new clients, from hiring people who go in to deliver automation, running these processes. All the data is for you. It's part of the platform. It's integrated part of the platform. A bot library you can use to demo to your clients. You will get an FR license, not for resell license, that you can use commercially internally to automate your managed service processes without the need to be in our client. It's all for our partners. We designed a multi-tier program that allows you to get to the margin of 50%. We want you to help companies that don't have anyone internally to implement ElectroNeek. We want you to build expertise. We want you to serve customers in a way that will make their success journey great. And it's always partnership. Someone mentioned before the partnership there. We are very happy to work with partners, and we do have greater reach, I think, at this moment globally through partners than directly. But on the last point, enterprise clients. We want to double our own relationships with enterprise clients. We do have Fortune 500 clients, and we want to take that experience of building bots for biggest, fastest growing companies in the States and help other companies who want to engage directly with us, build their automations, automate their processes, eventually integrate AI in everything they do. So we do have dedicated success program now for enterprise clients. We do have different offerings than we had in the past, including very sweet unlimited automation deals. When you're not limited by number of workflows, you can run anywhere. So we'd be happy to help there. And we also do have extended business support to cover global needs of clients who elect to work with us in multiple locations at the same time. So that's all there. And that's our kind of new relationships. Sometimes they're supported by features. Like for partners, we updated resell. I think community will be a great product for everyone, again, to get started. For online plans, we don't have trial. We can treat community as a trial for that. Now, let's stop talking and turn the table for your questions. Okay, first, I'm going to open Q&A section. Okay, it was a question from Petra, the first one, about processing semi-structured and structured business inputs. As you've seen from Ask AI activity in Easley Suite, you can start with inputs of any kind. They can be very unstructured to a certain degree. Even like for semi-structured, they consider what you've seen in IntelliDocs, this type of documents, when you do have the fields, but you don't know how these fields are called and where they are in a specific file. So that essentially the answer is yes. IntelliDocs is our product to write our own development. Question from Jim Banks: how might ElectroNeek add value to small and medium companies that use Salesforce CRM and we cannot afford cost and effort of page time? It's a good question. So you've seen Salesforce connectors. We do have an Integrabots, so you can automate in Salesforce. With Studio, you can automate in Salesforce on the level of graphic user interface. We in ElectroNeek ourselves use Salesforce's CRM system. We run a lot of automations. We even calculate Nexus taxes based on Salesforce application data. So I think I wouldn't claim that you can replicate all the use cases, but I think a lot. And if you're SMB, try our online plans or try the community version to give it a try. I think Salesforce and HubSpot that are part of Integrabots are very good products to start automating. Petri asked about an analyst briefing. Of course, sure, please follow up with our team or myself. We can do that. I quite frankly thought that analyst briefing season is over for this year, but always happy to talk to the community. Okay, now let's get into the questions in chat. Let's see if you see. So Easley AI is our support department. No, it's not our support department, but it's a little sent helper of the support department. Of course, for those of you who worked with us in the past, you know that we were doing essentially professional services all the time with our development support provided by development support and development consultants in the department. We're doing much more than just the chatbot, but a lot of these things now can be done by Easley AI, so it's not a little helper of our support team. By the way, I didn't mention, but we do professional services now. We offer them as part of the enterprise relationships. So that's something historically we did only for service providers. Now we do it for direct clients if they are enterprise clients as well. How do we manage error handling? How does the end user get notified? There are many ways to do that. That's a very important part of automation. How you essentially enable humans and robots work together in its very basic form. That's about notifications and error handling. Let's say, well, the simplest way to think about that, each activity in automation in our ecosystem has two ports, essentially, for the success and for not success. And you can customize the workflow that happens after, including doing any kind of user engagement, which sometimes is important. Like with IntelliDocs, having human in the loop for low confidence results is something that all the clients do. Yes, so it was a question about the MSP tools and PSAs. I mentioned that you will see MSP connectors coming. Cornice will be the next one there. But there are already a lot of things covered. I think in our release notes, we have linked to documentation where you can see all the connectors and what you can do there. Okay. I think we came through the old questions, and if there's any more, we'd be very happy to answer.
I think we had.
Yeah, so we can transition to provide the access code to the community. Thank you for staying with us for the length of the presentation.
Thank you, everyone. So go ahead and then scan the code that's on your screen now to get access to the community edition, and make sure that you follow us as well online at electroneek.com. Thank you, everyone. And Dimitri, thank you. Ivan, thank you as well. Great job. And everyone, happy automation, and we'll talk to you soon.